been talking since Monday. I've had the pleasure to be here in DC working with a number of other cities who've just recently been awarded an award from the Pfizer Foundation from Grant Makers in Aging to continue our work with age-friendly cities. And I'm kidding you not, we have been talking and talking and talking, and really there isn't a silver bullet. No one has the correct answer. There's just a lot of great work happening. And I hope we can move kind of now from the demographic data and understanding that you are 65 now, you will likely live to 85, so you've got that going for you. We're living longer, we're working longer, and with all of that information that you've just heard and consumed, a lot of this is about recognizing how we transform our communities to support that. I don't know about all of your communities, but if you're familiar with the Atlanta region, we are a sprawling, vast area of land. We consume 10 counties as our core. For Metropolitan Planning Organization, for all of our transportation planning, we make up 20 counties. We are moving lots of people every single day, but we have a pretty consistent development pattern of just conventional suburban development. And that worked for people who needed that to support their lifestyle with raising families and kids. But when we look at our demographics in our own region, we recognize the fact that this isn't going to be conducive to healthy and independent aging. And I want to give you a little bit of information about the Atlanta region, and maybe you know this just in general about the Southeast, that we are definitely keeping pace with the national trends of doubling our over 60 plus population between now and 2030. We're going from 1 in 10 to 1 in 5 in the Atlanta region. And so, we looked at ourselves. I'm going to bring this to you from a little bit different perspective because I'm from the Regional Planning Commission. And at our commission, we are very, very thankful, especially now as we see just all of the demographics change, that we're all working together under one roof. I know that we're sort of an anomaly for a lot of regional commissions throughout the country. I am actually with the Area Agency on Aging. We also are the workforce board for our region. We are the Regional Planning Commission, so we approve all the comp plans that come through for the 10-county region. And then I spent my previous 11 years of my profession with our Transportation Planning Division, which is our Metropolitan Planning Organization. And if you know what we do as regional commissions, we really funnel all of that federal money for federal highways, federal transit, Older Americans Act, through the state agencies, and then through our regional commission and out into our local communities. So if you have that same structure, which probably many of you do have something similar, or at least you have your MPO or your council of government, if you're not a participant of that process, that's what I really encourage you to do, because a lot of those decisions that I'm talking about here are multidisciplinary approaches to solving a problem. It's really not just a mayor's problem. It's not a county commissioner's problem to solve. It's going to require a multidisciplinary approach. Back in 2008, really prior to that, our role as the Area Agency on Aging and funneling all of that Older Americans Act funding said, hey, this isn't going to work for us long term. We get about $23 million a year to serve the people of the 10-county region now. That's our oldest, most frail adults. We're never going to keep pace with that. If we're out publicly saying we're going from 1 in 10 to 1 in 5 and we don't have a better solution, we better stop talking about it, because this isn't, that's not what we need to be promoting. So we said we have to look at this differently. We have to reframe the question. And again, you're probably going to hear a lot of what I'm talking about looking at it through the lens of aging, because that is our start. We are trying to ensure that definitely all of our work around the built environment is all ages, all abilities. But some of our work is specific to older adults and helping them to maintain healthy, independent lifestyles for as long as possible. But through the work of other professionals like Mildred's work, we're figuring out how to add those components. So, even when you hear this presentation today, we don't have everything figured out, but we have a model that's working and making changes and providing that platform for implementation. I heard that a lot yesterday with the climate change conversations. How do we get things happening now? How do we move towards implementation? And the purpose of our framework now is recognize that our land use division is working with communities on planning, recognizing transportation is doing transportation planning, we actually provide a role to communities now through service delivery through our AAA, our Area Agency on Aging. We can start moving some of this stuff to implementation now. We have a framework to do it. But we said we have to have a consistent message. You cannot just go out and tell people climate change or older adults or any of those things without providing a framework for them to act. And you know, our board represents all of the county commission chairs. We have a number of mayors that participate on our board, then we have some citizen members. So, you know, our role is to serve as a direct arm of their planning staff. So we hosted a charrette in 2008. We brought over 1,500, does everyone know what a charrette is? Big time visioning session, nobody leaves the room until everyone feels good about what took place. We had over 1,500 professionals over a 9-day period coming through our agency, helping us really tackle some of the hard questions around what does it mean to age in place, what does it mean to live in our communities with a disability, what does it mean to live in our communities as a young person. How do we have to come together to make these changes and recognizing what exists? These people aren't all coming in from the suburbs to downtown Atlanta. That's never going to happen. So we have to look at these assets that we have throughout the region and come up with some different concepts that are going to work. We need to be able to speak to our northern counties, maybe in a different way than our southern counties. So we had 5 different communities participate. They all brought money to the table. We were able to find some money through Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, who also funded our initial research called Aging Atlanta. And then US EPA brought money to the table, really helped us get this process started. And from that, we came up with our framework and then our set of tools, which are all available online. This is what we use to communicate with local governments. We do a lot of work just directly with them on model ordinances and their planning process. But we said it was about promoting housing and transportation options, encouraging healthy lifestyles, and expanding access to services. And that is our message, and these are our 3 goals, and this is what we work with communities to achieve. There are plenty of other, you could have 15 other things under here to say this is a community for a lifetime, but we know through our own network in the Atlanta region, we've got groups working on the Eco District. We have South Base Energy working on those components, and we're all partners trying to help advance each other's initiatives. So we didn't need to go into other roles. We also had an opportunity to test this model. The U.S. Administration on Aging gave us a grant through their Community Innovations for Aging on Place to test it, and now we have we have our work now structured around these 4 components of sustainability, innovative partnerships through collaboration. In all of our work, we never go in it alone. We have public health at the table, we have senior services at the table, parks and rec, land use, transportation, public works, whatever that entity is in the community, that's who we bring together. If a community comes to us and say, we want to work on this initiative. And at this moment, we're working with 12 different communities in the Atlanta region trying to advance this. And I keep trying to say initiative. It is an initiative, it is not a program. It is trying to get this concept across all areas of planning within the Atlanta region. Integrating into local planning, we're making things happen because we're helping them adopt these zoning ordinances that our other speakers talked about. If you don't change the rules, you're not going to change the land use. And for most of our communities, the housing options don't exist. Community engagement, I heard someone mention, I think it was the mayor from Des Moines, talk about tapping into the expertise and assets of our older adults. We're doing this through a number of programs that I'll talk about in a moment. And then meeting the needs of people. I really, in my time as a transportation planner, we followed all the federal highway requirements for public involvement and public outreach, but it was not until I moved to aging services till I understood what the needs of people were about.